Well, last year, Simon described large language models as though aliens dropped off a thumb drive. And we've been poking at it with a stick since then, trying to understand. Well, I consider all of technology to be that way. In 2009, during a particularly earnest time in my career of poking at alien monoliths with sticks, in this case, the Gigapad project and Python, I stumbled upon Roboexotica. This is the first, the best, and the longest-running festival of cocktail robotics in our world. It's been running since the late 20th century. This year it celebrates its 25th anniversary. Roboexotica is a mix of European culture hackers, makers, artists, performers, and all of the intersections that suggests. At Roboexotica, they talk about things like the increasing occurrence of radical hedonism in man-machine communication. The death gallows existential whimsy of Austrians was a bit of a jolt to me. We need whimsy. We need games, play, and experimentation. We need meaning. Some people get this through philosophy or church, but I build things. I build robots. At the festival, I found a couple of zip ties and turned my very serious Gigapad photo robot into an almost functional shot-pouring robot. Cocktail robotics had captured me. And as a bonus, since Vienna is the capital of cocktail robotics, there's always a Wurst. Cocktail robotics is not just pouring drinks. Truth. I don't want to name names, but I have a different partner. Robot is very loosely defined in cocktail robotics. So here are some examples and some ideas and some explorations. The mysterious electrical machine for automated cocktail creation, or MELMAC. The drink slides on a trolley that moves under each bottle. It uses a manual, this is important, Gehale Spirits Portionnier, which holds the bottle securely. And when you push up against the lever, it dispenses 2 centiliters. So they automated this by mounting hobby servo motors to pull up a wooden paddle to push up against the lever. If you look really closely, you can see the servo motor in there. RoboMochi is the Struman drinking machine to crush all drinking machines. And it takes 5 clanking and groaning minutes to make a mojito. It handles limes, it crushes limes, dispenses mint, squeezes it into the glass, adds sugar, and then, I don't know that you can hear this, but the clank, clank, stately progress of the glass down the chain drive to the muddler. May not have been able to hear, but you could see the slow progress. Am I backing up to this? Okay. It adds liquor, more liquor. They're using these automated drink-a-mat dispensers. So they send a signal to them, and you get a measured amount. They're easy to connect to an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi. And as you can see, this is the only simple part of this robot. Oh, of course, you need ice. You need soda water. You get your cocktail. But you don't always need electricity. The Corpse Reviver does a mechanical dance with bottles and levers to make its drink. But if you do want an electron-enabled device, peristaltic pumps are common. So the LayerBot uses bespoke peristaltic pumps to build its B-52s with the distinct layers gently laid down by a dispenser from a 3D printer Z-axis that moves up the lever to leave each layer undisturbed. Bernard used a small electric motor to drive these 3 bearings around within the laser-cut case. It's a jewel of design and performance, one of my favorite robots. But maybe you can go on a journey through time, or send you to the Old West, where you have to wrestle a robot.
We are
There were issues in testing, apparently, with this paddle. Many drinks were lost. I actually contributed some money, this was in 2009, to bring that whole group of Austrians, they were students of Johannes's, to San Francisco for the festival and the Barbot Festival that spring. So my piston bot used pneumatic linear actuators to drive piston pumps, and then the waste air drove 4 utterly annoying penny whistles for a bit of robot music. There was a native German speaker who wrote all kinds of native German things, using the latest developments in electromechanical, pneumatic, and tactile musical controls allows for an exploration of the incremental value added to the cocktail production process. Also includes blinking lights. The manifold was the most complicated thing that I had machined to that point. 4 holes in the top for the pumps, holes on the bottom for the intakes, on the sides. I didn't know how to do any of this when I started. But cocktail robots provide a chance to explore new things. For example, getting yelled at and insulted by a robot until one feels the need to kick it in the groin. And then a nice young person gives you a Red Bull and vodka in a Solo cup. A new experience. And when you have a Minecraft cocktail robot, you will have kids. Europe has different attitudes about, well, many things. I can't pronounce this very well, but the amaletomat is the perfect crepes making machine. Alcohol-infused crepes. You can pull a switch to execute a hot dog that you can eat afterwards. Or even this counts. Poor Hobot, quote, has 2 big problems. He is addicted to booze and broke as hell. For him to see his mechanical colleagues giving alcohol to foreigners all day long is not easy. Please help this homeless, homesick fellow by sparing him some change. So cocktail culture includes hitting you up for change. Here's a robot that I like a lot, so we're going to explore it. Clearly, the antithesis of the layer bot. Robots once were built the old-fashioned way, one piece at a time, lovingly crafted with skill, blood, Arduinos, and found parts. This was originally built during a cocktail robot workshop in Vienna. It has 4 ingredients, vodka, Kahlua, milk, and soy milk, and makes White Russians, or what they call Hippie White Russians. It has a control panel from an old elevator, an arrow controlled by a servo motor to show if you're getting a normal or a hippie drink, an ice auger with a pinball machine type spinner that confirms that an ice cube has been dispensed, and a weight sensor to detect if the glass is in place. Here's the back and a close-up where you can see the Arduino and the servo motors, which move the cow flour indicator and control these ingenious chopstick valves. The servos pull or release the end of the chopstick to squeeze the tubing to enable or disable flow. So you look at this robot, this combination of, well, a whole lot of technical things, 12 or so I/O pins on the Arduino, and yet it's put together with literally, cable ties and duct tape. There are multiple frames you can use when you explore cocktail robotics, but if you want robots that interact with people by reacting to buttons and sensors and create actions with lights and motors, then you're firmly in the world of physical computing. I think it's fair to describe physical computing as being where the artists who want to be roboticists and the roboticists who want to be artists meet. When I was at NASA with the Gigapan unit, I had artist friends who described me as a pretty good engineer, and my engineer friends at NASA thought I was a pretty good artist. They were both wrong. Bartendro, which we will meet soon, is clearly the product of good roboticists and good software engineers in a conflict of interest warning, friends. The Drinkomat dispensers on Robomoji, engineering and robotics. Using hobby servo motors on Melmac to pull up a beautifully finished wooden paddle to depress a manual dispenser, physical computing. Physical computing exists for people who want to mess with electronics but don't want to have to do too much math. The White Russian Hippie screams physical computing. It does all this with about a dozen I/O pins. Before the Arduino existed, I attended a couple of workshops by Tom Igoe on physical computing, and he said, the hello world of physical computing is making an LED blink. Once you get that, you're golden. And at that time, 2003, 2002, the hobbyist microcontroller learning curve was very steep. Just getting an LED to blink was a challenge. The Arduino came out 2 or 3 years later, and you may or may not know, pin 13 is a digital out. And you can use it for normal I/O, but also it's connected to an onboard LED. And when you first turn on an Arduino, it has a blink program built in, and the LED blinks. And I thought, damn, Tom was so right. And then I looked, and he was so right because he was part of the Arduino team. Proving, as if it needed proving, Alan Kay's adage that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. This is just here so I can say human Lebenswelt, or in English, life world, a world that subjects may experience together. It's this deep philosophical concept, I guess, and it seems to apply. We're here, robots. So Bartendro was an open source project to create a complete and reliable cocktail robot that could serve hundreds of cocktails in a night. And it worked well. Still does for the people who have it. They made open source custom dispensers that had feedback and fine control of their peristaltic dispensers. They spent a great deal of effort on accuracy and precision. They also wrote the Bartendro software using Python and Flask to manage recipes, track what ingredient is in which bottle, and provide a user-friendly interface to make cocktails. It also includes an API. So this decouples the interesting part of your robot, whatever your entertainment is, whatever your interactivity is, from the mechanics of making the drink appear. So, right? This is thank you. Hello DrinkBot is a project to make it easier for people to get started with cocktail robots. The hello world of dispensing cocktails is push a button, liquid comes out. So, and this is, again, Hobot is, to me, a really beautiful robot. You don't have to use electronics, but if you're going to. So, Hello DrinkBot lowers the bar of entry by making you a platform which tolerates the beginner's skill while rewarding expertise. There's files so that you can laser cut cases. There's a basic box that you can integrate with an existing robot or into your furniture. You need a cocktail dispensing couch. There's a standalone version, which I've used, as you'll see, quite a bit. Laser cutting, though, a whole bunch of these for a workshop, well, it was wasteful. So I made each of the waste holes a little Hello DrinkBot challenge coin. So I should have some to hand out, but there was a Raspberry Pi with an Adafruit motor shield. The motor shield can control 4 motors in forward and reverse, but I thought, wait a second, why don't I control 8 motors? So you can't control the 2 adjacent motors at the same time, because one's forward, one's reverse, but you can have 8 dispensers, which is cool. The Bartendro software uses Bartendro pumps, and they're super nice and precise, but they're expensive. And these pumps, the aquarium dosing pumps, are not. as precise, as accurate as bartender pumps, but they're only $7 or $8 in 2 days from Amazon. Or there's a jillion options from AliExpress for, well, really cheap. The goal here is to get people thinking about and making their own cocktail robots. Oh, there's also software in the GitHub for additional games and whatever. There's some early steps in the robot. This is Dr. Gibson, is it last month, with her pink Flaming Lotus Girls tool belt at Maker Faire. Applied for a booth in 2019 and it was accepted. And then they asked if I wanted to do a workshop on making cocktail robots. I think it was okay that I said yes, but oh my God. We had lots of people. These are robot cases that I cut, pre-fit together, and then took apart for people to assemble. Buying parts for 20 Hello Drink bots to do a workshop was a challenge. I look at this picture now from spring of 2019, and I wonder, I was able to just order 20 Raspberry Pis and own them. So software can be frustrating as heck, but organizing a hardware workshop is pretty nerve-wracking. But the people who step up and help are the best. Keith Sattenfield came to Maker Faire and helped in the workshop. It was awesome. Maker Faire truly was, and maybe is again, I guess, the greatest show and tell on earth. They tricked me into writing an article for Make, and I tricked them by slipping in a picture of my grandson with a robot we set up to make Italian sodas. Action at a distance is always a thrill. And the kids loved selecting their drinks, pushing a button, something happened. Let's see, then post-pandemic, the organizers of Robo Exotica, the Monochrome group in Vienna, for what it's worth, also make films. And in 2022, they were invited to bring robots to the Fantastic Fest parties in Austin. So Christine and I got the call in July, and immediately we got to work. And we had help. We made a lot of robots. I was worried that they weren't going to be able to bring enough robots from Austria. It's a lot of robots. Packing. Turns out that ice chests are legal luggage, and they work great for travel. So we put 6 robots and 2 ice chests with extra parts in our luggage. So here was some robots. So many. Here was the classic whiskey cocktail robot. Oh, and just to be clear, anything that looks well-designed or pretty was Christine. I'm not joking. You saw the earlier pictures of Hello Drink bots. They were ugly. They're still ugly in their physical shape, but not ugly. Stark. So, many robots operate on the principle that it's not. The amazing thing about the dancing bear isn't that he dances poorly, but that he dances at all. But Christine is a bartender, so in addition to her artistic and creative skills, she brought a focus on the cocktails actually tasting good. We used the Bartendro stock interface. The point of this robot wasn't the interactivity. The point of the robot was, they'll taste good. Bonus points, if you catch this reference, this is Ukrainian roulette. 1 or 2 people press a button, the robot makes a choice, and each person gets either a reasonably tasty drink or something wretched. The shocking robot, you hold an electrode, you push a button, it shocks you. As long as you hold the button, it also dispenses a drink. The intensity increases the longer you hold the electrode. It is a home version of Skinner operant conditioning. The music mixer, this is an example that you should remember to take pictures. We had a xylophone. You'd hit notes. Each note would map to a dispenser. It worked, except ambient noise, the background noise, was a problem. So Christine filled it with complementary ingredients, and we made ambient cocktails. It was cool. I've made multiple versions of the Dude Imbibes. This is the third one. You probably can guess.
This place has class.
Wow, that's Bender saying this place has class. This was, again, at the Fantastic Fest party. I tried to get my former coworkers excited about making robots, and former coworker said she wanted one that made martinis, just martinis. So somehow, probably again because of Christine, we settled on a Bender robot. We went through various name choices, but this one stuck. The insides are ugly, but you have choices. Traveling with Austrians is, well, I would like to be judgmental, but I have a picture of doing the exact same thing in Europe. We went to Robo Exotic in 2022, and we smartly only brought the shocking robot and the classic cocktail robot. But Christine scoured the Noshmark to get the right mint and other ingredients for her infusions. Sadly, COVID visited us, but amazingly, the next night, the shocking robot operated without any assistance other than a person put new liquor in. It was great. And we won awards, the annual Cocktail Robot Award, the ACRA. We won the Balls of Steel Award, which I think they made up on the spot. And Classic Whiskey Cocktails won a Legacy Award. And last year I didn't get to go to Robo Exotica, but a friend, like a month before the contest, said, I want a robot that gives you a bird quiz and gives you more alcohol the more questions you get right. And so I wrote a quiz in Flask, in Python. I guess I should emphasize the Python first. Then sent them pumps and everything all pre-connected. I was so nervous. But fortunately, we had a second-generation cocktail roboteer. This is the son of the crate maker, and he helped. It was cool. Look at that. I even had like a welcome screen and a quiz that the design nerds in you are going to hate me, but that's fine. More slides, more slides. Another great robot. It was happy. So, in addition to being whimsical, cocktail robots can be serious. Brie Pettis came to, was an artist in residence for Monochrome in, I think, 2008. And his project was to use a rep wrap to print shot glasses. If you do 3D printing and you hear 2008 in rep wrap, you know nothing good is going to happen. It failed in the most horrendous manner. So he said that and had two friends and made MakerBot. Rob Kay, who did Bartendro with other people, used a genetic algorithm to pick the optimal ingredients for his 7-pump Bartendro. And the interesting thing there is the amount of things you can do and learn. I think it's cool. This is some of the stuff I've learned. I owe at least part of my appreciation of Jugendstil design, my understanding of Stevenson valve gear linkages, in my knowledge that screw whip exists, all the cocktail robots. I think Norbert Wiener would understand. He created the word in the field of cybernetics. I like this quote from his book, God and Golem, Inc. And look at that robot on his desk in the 40s. All by itself makes him a man who I think would make cocktail robots with which he would have deep conversations. There's some bonus robots, but I only have 11 seconds. That's just why they're here. So you can see some bonus robots. A foosball table, you scored a goal, or they scored a goal, I don't remember which, and suddenly you had a beer bong. It was very disorienting. A model railroad, the Tiki God. I mean, the pictures, I think, tell part of their own story. Max Headroom. Oh, yeah. What do the robots want? This is Mark Paulina's Survival Research Lab. And I think what they want is maybe to be impaled. This is why AI is not going to take over the world. There's some stuff happening. That bottom thing is, oh yeah, the bottom point is relevant. And I wrote a colophon, which you'll see in the talk. Yay.
First example. Oh, that's fine. I mean, we run late. We run late here. That's how it works. First example I've ever seen of flask being used to be able to fill a flask.